I think Councilmember Coombs mentioned she was not going to be able to make it, although I'm not sure if that has changed due to the intern schedules.
I haven't heard any difference, so.
Okay. So we'll just be waiting on Councilmember Medina.
Right.
Okay. Oh, well, just the top of my head. Yay.
There you go. Hey, Ralph.
Hi.
How you doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you guys?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Thank you. We're glad to be here. And first on the agenda, too, for the briefings this year. Last year, we were last.
Well, glad you're on the top of the list this time.
Thanks.
Not that any of our reports are more or less important than the others, but.
Oh, no, I got that.
It's good that we can shuffle it around. Oh, okay. I see Councilmember Medina. And let me just double check with Councilmember Coombs that we shouldn't wait on her real quick. Alrighty. So we are at 3:30. Let's see here. Got Ralph. We have our HR committee folks on the call already. And then the last on the agenda is the resolution. Alrighty, so we are at 3:30, so I'm going to go ahead and call us to order. So welcome everybody. My name is Juan Marcano, and I am going to be running our meeting today as Chair and Chair Coombs will not be able to join us. So I'll go ahead and defer to my colleague, Councilmember Medina, for an introduction.
Again, my name is Ruben Medina. I'm the council member from Ward 3.
And yeah, let's just move on to item 2 here, which is going to be approval of the minutes from our May 31st meeting. I do not have any changes. Do you, Councilmember Medina?
Nope, we're good.
Great, so those will stand approved. So item 3, announcements. Do any of our members or staff members or members of the public have any announcements they'd like to share for the good of the group? All right, seeing none. We do not have anything under consent items, so we'll go down to new items and start with 5A, Veterans Affairs Commission Annual Report. And I believe, Ralph, you'll have the floor for this one.
Great, thank you. I wondered if I might be able to share my screen. I made a minor change to the presentation this week because we had a last minute update, and I wondered if I can get.
Hold on just one moment and I'll make you the presenter.
Thank you so much. Sorry to do this to you at the last minute.
Okay.
Got it. There it is. And there's PowerPoint. And you should all see, yep, you do. Okay, great, thank you. Well, we're glad to be here like we were last year, and we're happy to report on how we've been doing. We're going to cover these 4 things, a little bit about who we are, things that have happened this year, talk a little bit about council support, and be available for questions. You know that we're one of the 30 boards and commissions. We have 12 members, and we have a vacancy unexpectedly. We thought we had 100% this year. We thought we had our first active duty and first Space Force member, but he got orders to Korea. So
Okay.
that dropped him off the list, and we have an interview tomorrow with a candidate. So I'm hoping that by the end of July, first part of August, we will have, we'll be up to 12 people, which will be the first in about 3 years. Our meetings are the second Thursday of the month, and starting in July, the first month of each quarter will be in person, and the second and third months will be virtual. So we're going to try to see how that works. So we're a little bit excited about that. This is a list of who's who. There's a number, obviously there's more than 12 people on here because as of tomorrow, a number of these people fall off the list. But we did want to let you know that we've got a number of folks, still have mostly Air Force folks, still a few Army, still looking for somebody from the Navy and the Coast Guard and the Marine Corps and all that, but we were in pretty good shape. And let's go on to the next one. We tried to focus this year on a single topic, a major single topic, and we agreed to talk about veterans homelessness. And we've spent the last 4 or 5 months trying to learn little bits and pieces. We've had different folks come in and present, not only from the city, but also from the Metropolitan Denver Homeless Initiative, as well as others. What we've learned, which is not a total surprise, is there are data inconsistencies. And some reports show X number of veterans homeless and other reports show a different number. But the best guess we have right now is somewhere around 60 people, give or take, at any moment. And that looks like that's reasonably good information. Lots of folks involved with this across the city and the community, including the folks in housing and community affairs are doing a really great job trying to deal with the homelessness issue. But there's not enough housing to house the folks who are homeless. And so that makes it really challenging. And I asked specifically today, actually, I had a conversation with them and I said, well, what happens until the housing shows up? And the answer is they stay sleeping in their car or anywhere else they can find a place to stay, which is really not very good. And I'm not sure what we will recommend, if anything, to City Council come towards the end of the year, but that was not really, obviously that's not a good situation. The mayor's homeless pilot with Adams County, we issued a final report at his request in May, a little bit early, even though the pilot doesn't actually end until tomorrow. So we turned in our report, got that finished up. We've sent proposals to City Council for a website for our materials. And our materials are a little bit more extensive than most of the boards and commissions because it not only includes the usual minutes and agenda, which are already posted, but we have operating instructions for the actual conduct of the organization. And we finally got that resolved, actually in the last couple of weeks, with some exceptional help from our liaison team in HR. So that's sort of a closed issue. The public hearing that we proposed at the last working session, based on the feedback I was getting, we pulled that, and we're going to hopefully replace that with Aurora, with the engagement community in Aurora, but I don't know exactly how that's going to shake out until our meeting on July 14th. But we hope to do something. The veteran population study has also made some wonderful progress, particularly in the last 3 weeks. First of all, we did get support from the contracting folks to create a request for information to industry to go out and propose a survey of the community and get an estimate ballpark figure on the cost, so that we could then turn around and assess whether that is something we want to recommend to City Council to fund. So we're in the first stage. I actually wrote the draft RFP yesterday and this morning. It's contracting's looked at it. We will consider it at our meeting on the 14th, and then hopefully turn it in shortly thereafter and get that rolling. The Central Student Expo and outreach to the student community, we have decided we haven't made that official. We won't until our July meeting, but we are going to stop the work on this. City Attorney's Office said that that was really beyond the scope of our charter, and unless we wanted to seek approval from the council to actually conduct the activity, that we really shouldn't move forward. And the commissioner who's sponsoring this has decided that he doesn't want to go forward in that manner. So we'll probably close that one out. We don't have, well, we have some new liaison staff because there's been a turnover in HR, but the team that's in HR, including the director now, is involved with us. We just still have a great group of people, and we are so happy to have them supporting us. We partnered with a veteran service organization called Warrior Now, and we helped them raise $14,000 for suicide prevention. That's their focus as a veteran service organization, is on suicide prevention for veterans. And so we worked with them on an activity. I attended the Metropolitan Denver Homeless Initiative conference and got some information about homelessness as part of our veteran homeless thing. Made really good contact with them, and we've continued to build that relationship. Last year, before COVID really took place, actually in 2020, we planned to do a stand down, and we had obtained a bunch of backpacks and contents, but we never were able to do anything with them because there was no stand down. This year, what's happened is we've partnered with a couple of organizations, and we've actually gotten them handed out to homeless veterans through those organizations, and we're pretty happy with that. We revised our mission statement and got it narrowed down a little bit to reflect what's in the charter. And so you can see that here, nothing particularly unique about that, I don't think, but there we go. And the one thing that I'm really happy about is this document, and I'm going to try to see if this link will open up and show you what it does. Yay. Okay. This is just today. This just happened in the last couple of days, and I'm going to close this footnote. We were able to work with the GIS folks through our liaison team to get a map based on the 2020 census of the density of veterans in the city of Aurora. And so you now see a heat map showing where most of the veterans are clustered in the city. And so while it's not exactly perfect, there are some issues with the way the census collects data. We're probably off by a couple thousand total because of the overlapping areas with Parker and some of the other zones. But I'm really pleased to see this. This was done so fast and so quick, and made literally made modifications today. So we're really proud of this, and the city doing this. And the reason that this is going to be important is that when we talk about that RFI, that we want industry to do a survey, we now have something to show industry to say, and here's a starting point for you. This will give you some idea of where the veterans are located. So it's going to impact in a number of ways. This will also get posted to the city's GIS mapping website. We had speakers in this week, this year, from Housing and Community Services. Again, Jessica Prozier and Emma King came in and talked with us. We had the Homeless Initiative people in. We had the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs service officers come in, and they talked about what's happening across the state in terms of expanding of their services, which is really good news for veterans in Aurora and in the immediate surrounding areas, because now there is already a veteran service officer in the city, but this gives them some backup. And we also had the medical center, the VA Medical Center Chief of Development and Civic Engagement, come in and talk with us about what she does for a living and all the programs they offer, which is kind of exciting. And if we ever get back to doing a stand down or supporting one, they're doing that now once again, and it'll be something really useful to support. The last thing I want to cover is council support. Obviously, we would invite you to come to any of our meetings and meet with the commission and share what your thoughts. Recently, the city clerk's office issued a set of a document to the city liaison staff about how they wanted the city liaison staff to support the boards and commissions, which I thought was a really great idea. However, in that document, there is a reference to commissioner term limits. And if a commission has a term of 3-year appointments, then there's limitations, and this is for any commission, but it impacts us in particular in that we have always had, until maybe this month, we have always had problems keeping the 12 commissioners that we are authorized to keep. This term limit is based on a resolution from the city council of a number of years ago. So this wasn't just a policy that came out of the clerk's office. This is something that came out of council. And the resolution specifically talks to these term limits for the different commissions and boards. There are no provisions in either the resolution or in the document that the clerk's office issued for an exception to this policy. And what that does is it puts our commission in particular in a very difficult place where we have somebody who might be coming up on their term limit according to the resolution, and they can't serve again, and we don't have anybody to replace them. And there's nothing in the resolution that allows us to come to city council and say, or city clerk and say, we want to keep this person and there's nobody standing in line. Why do we want to create another vacancy? So we are asking, as I did after our last meeting in my email to city council members, we're asking that you please take a look at this and please provide some provision in the resolution by amending that resolution to allow for an exception in some fashion. Otherwise, I think you're going to inadvertently damage the boards and commissions when this starts getting enforced. And that's my presentation. And does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Ralph. I'll start just based off of the last point that you just made. If we were to make exceptions to that, what would you be looking for? Are you looking for, another term or just an end to limits generally? Could you elaborate on that a little?
Yeah, I would suggest that if the board or commission has a vacancy, if a vacancy will be created by the loss of this individual and there's nobody in line to take that position, that we be allowed to keep the individual.
Okay.
And for whatever length of time. We happen to have a commissioner who's probably served a gazillion years, and he will come up on his term limit in 2023, I believe. And he will be forced to step down for one whole 3-year term. But that doesn't make any sense to me. So I would propose, if there's nobody waiting in line and this creates a hole, let the person stay.
Okay.
Councilmember Marcano, I'm sorry, this is Katie, the city clerk. I just wanted to, if I could have a comment on that.
Go ahead.
So in the resolution, there actually is a clause as to if there's no applicants that qualify, then somebody who's term limited has the ability to step in. And so this is resolution 2013-03, and this is actually something the clerk's office is looking at with the city attorney's office to bring forward to PR Plus committee to amend it to certain sections of it.
Okay, so this is already in the works then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Ralph, it sounds like that would address the issue that you're describing, correct?
Yes, it would.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right, happy to hear that. Thank you, Katie, for that. And my second question for you was going back to homeless veterans in Aurora. You said that we have an estimated 60?
Somewhere in that neighborhood, yes.
Okay, and as you mentioned, there's not enough housing options available for them. I know that we had a fairly high profile scenario with a Army veteran who was working even through the pilot program, but was unable to find housing. So would it be, your commission's opinion that we should prioritize that housing component for that as well?
I don't think I'm in a position to answer your question directly. I would want to talk to the rest of the commissioners, but from just as a side trip, I'm also working on this. I'm using this as a issue for a paper in a course I'm taking.
Okay.
So I've also been doing a whole bunch of homework on veterans homelessness in general. It is not unique that the city doesn't have enough short-term housing or long-term housing. Do I want to suggest that we prioritize veterans over other homeless? I'm not sure about that, because when you've got a family that's homeless, is that more of a challenge that needs to be addressed than an individual veteran? And so I think there's lots of things to consider. And the other piece is veterans, for the most part, but not all of them, have access to services and ways to get housing that non-veterans do not have.
Mhm.
And so I don't know that it's equitable to do that, but I think if we can determine what the housing shortfall looks like, and if there's something that can be done about that in general, that might be a more thoughtful approach.
Okay. And I guess another follow-up on this point with you. I know HUD Bash, right, is typically the program that veterans have access to. Have you encountered issues with our unhoused veteran population? Or are you aware of issues with that population where they don't take advantage of HUD Bash vouchers for whatever reason?
I don't have any experience to answer that question. I don't know.
Okay.
My impression is that there are not a shortage of HUD Bash vouchers. There may be a shortage of housing that will accept them. And part of the other issue, which is not unique to veterans, but is a veterans issue, is some veterans are not ready for that because they have substance abuse or mental health issues that have to be addressed. And I also learned today another new piece for me, that trying to get documentation for someone who's been a long-term unhoused individual, having documentation like a birth certificate or a driver's license can take months to get. And you got to have those things to do the HUD voucher. So you've got a group of people who aren't eligible because they don't have the right documentation, and it's going to take months to get them. And then they're the ones that are left, among others. They're left out literally in the cold. And so it's just, yeah.
Okay. I mean, did y'all discuss any recommendations for the council to address that, or nothing
Not yet. What I'm hoping to discuss what will be discussed at our July meeting is whether or not we're going to have an August, make a request for an August half-day offsite to talk about this in a little more detail.
Okay.
And we'll have to go through the committee to do that, I'm told, because of the Colorado Open Meetings thing.
Mhm.
But we've done the commission has had an offsite in 2020, early 2020. That was an all-day session, and I think we'd like to do something for half day, and I'll know that better in a couple of weeks.
All right. No, that sounds great. And I'll just end my part here by just saying anything we can do to support y'all in that endeavor, please let us know. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Councilor Medina.
Yeah, just a couple little things. I mean, do you know if there's any ways or ideas that you may have to see if we can expedite it? I mean, I'm gonna check myself to get some of the IDs and birth certificates. Is it just a backlog in staffing of doing that? Do you know, or is it just, getting the right pieces of paper to be able to make that presentation to get those IDs?
I don't think it's a staffing shortfall on the part of the city team. There are probably 20 different organizations that get together a couple times a month to individual named veterans case manage. And they are focused on the veterans in the city of Aurora. And they have this telephone conference and they talk about individual needs. And my guess, and that's all this is a guess, is trying to get a birth certificate from Michigan or New York or someplace else is, going to take some time. And the same thing with, got to start with that before you get the driver's license, and you got to have that before you do the next piece, and that sort of thing. And you got to have the DD 214, which for some veterans is going to be in St. Louis at the National Records Center. And the problem with that is, some of that's online these days, but some of it's not. And if your records were part of the 1962 fire, they don't exist. And that becomes even a bigger problem.
All right, I'm do some little investigation myself, see what ways we can do it. And yeah, I'd be happy to, come to any of the meetings that you have. If there's anything you want me to do in the meetings or talk to, just let me know and I'd be happy to do that.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ralph, for your presentation, and keep up the great work.
Thanks.
Ready. So moving on to 5B, we have the Human Relations Commission Annual Report, and I believe Chairperson Amy Wiles will be doing the presentation.
Hello. Yes, I'm Amy Wiles. I'm the chair of the Human Relations Commission, and this is my first one of these meetings, so I did not do a PowerPoint. So I will learn from Ralph. Obviously, I do have a report sheet that I can share with you, if that would work.
Sure. I think we also have a copy of it in our backup, but if
Okay.
you'd like to share it as well for the
Perfect.
public's benefit, actually, I think that'd be really
Yeah,
helpful.
it actually won't let me share it, so
all right. I think Stephanie can pass you those privileges.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so hopefully you can see my annual report on the screen.
There it is.
Perfect. So this is my first year as chair for the Human Relations Commission, but it is my fourth year now on the commission. I've been really grateful for the opportunity. So currently we have a total of 15 positions on the board. We only have 8 filled. We are actively recruiting and interviewing. We actually interviewed somebody last night and we'll interview somebody tomorrow night. So we're really trying to fill those positions and bring a good representation of all of our citizens across the city to our commission. And so far we've had some really great applicants, and we're really excited about that. We want to definitely bring in more voices so that we have a really representative commission for the city. So some of the things that we did in the past year was we participated as volunteers in the summer kickoff. We distributed food and pet supplies, baby items. We like to be active in our community and participate so that we're out there able to speak to citizens and let them know about us, because that's key to getting additional, participation. We continue to appoint and interview people as soon as we get applicants. We participated in the Community Relations Division and the mayor's food distribution activities in response to the COVID crisis. And then one of the big things that we've done so far this year is we held our planning day. So I sort of created it as hopefully something that will go forward in the future, but an annual planning day where we have time to sit down together as a commission and plan out our strategy and goals for the year. Some of the things that we decided to focus on this year were creating additional relationships and partnerships with other commissions and boards throughout the state that do similar activities, as well as other boards and commissions within the city of Aurora that maybe have overlapping goals and things that we can participate with. So we have one person who is assigned to sort of building that and starting it getting moved forward. And so that's something we're really excited for this year. We also put the goal of really getting to know some of our smaller nonprofits. What we found is that we tend to go, and we do have a budget, so we do donate to different projects and initiatives within the city, but we tend to fall back and just donate to the same or work with the same groups over and over. And so this year we really wanted to diversify that. So we're working on getting to know different nonprofits, sort of attending different programs and events so that we can learn about the nonprofits that exist within our city. I attended the Juneteenth event over at Anschutz and was able to connect with a minority student physician group, and they're going to be coming to speak with us soon. I'm really excited about that. They didn't know anything about our commission, and they're young and excited, and so I'm hoping maybe we can even talk a few into attempting to join the commission, or even maybe not as this year, but maybe as a future option as well. So that are two things that we're really looking forward to pushing forward, and we put a lot of work in with our planning session. As we become fully staffed, we also want to really work on our subcommittees. So that would be marketing, education, outreach, and make sure that we have a fully formed plan for that as well. So that should be happening as we're adding more people to the commission over this year, and we'll really have a strong foundation to move forward into future years. Let's see. So in 2021, we actually did quite a bit of funding within the community. Holy Kicks, who we had come meet at some of our meetings, and we were starting to build a partnership with, just in terms of learning more about them and seeing how we could support them. They unfortunately had a break-in at the end of the year, and so we were able to luckily give them budget of $5,000 to help replace the shoes that were stolen from their break-in. And so we hope to continue that partnership in some way, participating potentially with the way when they go out and do their donations, if we can be there and help out and sort of talk to members of the community, that will again continue our presence in the community. We also donated $1,000 to Warrior Now, and that was in December. So that was also an exciting thing. And then we approved a donation of $3,000 to the Outfront Foundation because, of course, we're very supportive of LGBTQ2 community, and so we wanted to make sure that we helped them out as well with their goals. Over the year, we also had quite a few updates from various areas of the community. So Housing and Community Services came and talked to us about our homelessness initiatives. We talked about rental assistance, the homelessness symposium, and a few other, eviction assistance and that sort of thing. And then Josh Nichols over at the police department has been great in coming and talking about his initiatives. We continue to partner with them very closely, and so we value that relationship that we have as well. One program, and we did donate to their Aurora Youth Night initiative that was earlier this year. We talked about having a table at that event, but we weren't sure that it was the right move to do that. And so we wanted to wait until the first one was done and then get feedback and then potentially participate in future options so that, again, we can be there. We do have space for a youth commissioner to join our commission. So knowing now how well that youth event went, we probably at the next one will have a table so that we can hopefully attract some of the young members of our community to join the commission, or even just call into meetings and just give feedback. And then our big project for the year that we've been working on is a project that one of our commissioners came up with, Aaron Futrell. He's very passionate about it, and it's You Will Never Walk Alone. And basically he is creating a plan for us to do quarterly donation drives. So we would partner with different nonprofits within the city, find out maybe what they needed. So it might be, Holy Kicks one quarter, it could be, one of our shelter locations another quarter, find out what they need, what their gaps are, and then have a drive and collect items to help meet the needs of the community that they serve, and then also be part of whatever it is that we're handing out. So if it's a food drive, we would be there in the community speaking, meeting people, and actively participating in that. We just think it's really important to get boots on the ground and really engage with the community. A couple other things that I have also requested of the commission is to be more involved with their city council people within their ward. I think that we used to do that a few years ago when I first started on the commission, and it has kind of fallen off a little bit. And I would like to see that kind of come back. I feel like that's a partnership that really needs to be expanded upon. So I have started to ask my commissioners to make sure that they're making out or attending ward meetings or doing both to sort of increase the contact relationship so that we can work together better. And hopefully we'll see some of that come to fruition. And then we're also excited that we do plan on participating in the Global Fest this year. So we're excited to get out and again, just meet the community and let them know the things that the Human Relations Commission is doing, and let them know that we are a resource for them, because of course our city citizens are our #1 priority in making sure that everybody feels represented and valued within our city. So our goals for this year, again, to continue building that relationship, continue our partnerships and build relationships and partnerships within nonprofits, create more community awareness, Global Fest and Pride. We're excited to sort of participate in that. And then we've also discussed creating a Know Your Rights initiative with regard to immigration policies, police interactions, employment protections, and tenant and landlord disputes. So we have a subcommittee sort of starting to work on that to see what that might look like. That sounds like a really big project, so it may be something that we roll out over time, maybe focusing on one and then moving forward. So more to come on that, but we're excited about that as well. When it comes to what we need from City Council, we would love if you guys would attend some of our meetings. You know, we're happy to reach out and maybe schedule one City Council person per meeting, but we would love to just hear what things, you know, what special projects you guys are passionate about and see if there's any alignment, and then maybe we can work together on that. So I would ask for that in the future. But other than that, we're excited about the direction that we're moving, and we have had more community members call in the last year than ever before. So we're excited about that as well. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, thank you. I want to start, Amy. Thank you so much for that presentation, for that quick overview of all the great work y'all have been up to. I'm really excited about the You Will Never Walk Alone initiative. So that you said that kicks off in August, right? So that's pretty soon.
Yeah, we're working on it right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, great job with that. My first question for you is, what can the city do? So I'm going to maybe put Kim on the spot as well as council here. What can we do to help fill some of these vacancies? Because this is not something that's unique to the Human Relations Commission. So I'd like to know from your perspective, how can we help you better get the word out?
Yeah, you know, I think that's such a challenge. I know that I have really encouraged my commissioners to share it on, you know, neighborhood Facebook pages and group pages and, you know, that sort of thing. So I would just think maybe if the city was to do the same on their page or, you know, on the Nextdoor app, those sorts of things. I think just the more that we emphasize that there are openings, I do feel like there's a shift in the city and there's more of a willingness for people to get involved. Maybe it's because COVID has sort of calmed down a little bit and we're getting back to, you know, normal quote unquote life. So I'm hoping that we're on the right direction, but I think any support in terms of publicizing it that you guys can provide would be amazing.
Councilmember Marcano.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Katie Rodriguez again, City Clerk. I just want to give another update as well about the vacancies. We've actually been coordinating with the communications department, and they've created flyers, specific ones for each board and commission. And so those are going to go out in the community. We're putting it out on social media. Tristan Sheptalk is the city clerk analyst. He's on the line right now. He can give a better update of how many vacancies have been filled recently. And I know he's been going to schools and different city events to promote all the vacancies.
Hi, Kitty. Just to follow up on that, we've also been coordinating with all local rec centers to get the word out and setting up tables there and having those flyers for every board and commission with vacancies. We're also going to be coordinating with local golf courses to get the flyers there as well. And we currently cut down the vacancies from 70 from earlier this year down to 45, and we're looking forward to seeing that trend go down with, like Katie was mentioning, with the new promotional materials with communications.
Y'all are on it. I'm really excited to hear that. Go ahead, Kim.
Sorry, thank you. We also get media coverage. We're very, very active on promoting all of our boards and commissions. Their purpose, they go in our digital newsletters, our print newsletters, every bit of our social media accounts on a regular basis. So we try to explore every possible way of putting the word out. And where it makes sense, we get media, and we do spots on Aurora TV, on Aurora Now. And so we'll continue to keep the push. I think it's terrific, Amy, that you're encouraging your members who can speak firsthand knowledge about the experience, the importance of a community voice. I think that can make a real difference in getting people to take action, not just be made aware of the vacancy. So keep that up. We love it.
I appreciate that. I'm trying. I keep saying my neighbors are probably tired of me sharing. We have a neighborhood page, and then I live out in Adonia, so we have a neighborhood page that covers like 4 communities. So I keep posting, and I also post for other commissions. Just if I see something come across, my email or whatever, I'll be like, hey, maybe, human relations isn't your thing, but, there's a, this commission or a that. So trying to get more people involved. I think it's so important to be involved in your community.
All right, excellent. Thank you all for that update. That's very exciting news. Councilor Medina?
Thank you. Yeah, just a couple things. Yeah, if you need help with connecting communities, that's kind of my forte. That's kind of what I do in community right now. And so any ways that I can help you to do that, I'm more than happy to do that. That's my real gig, so to speak. Also trying to get it out, I think, in different sectors as well. I know language is a barrier for some individuals, and also access to computers is another in some communities as well. And so if there's ways that we can either do texting, because I know a large group of Spanish speaking, that's kind of how we get the word out with them, is just through text, just kind of like a mass text, and we can reach, about 400 people that way, just because they don't have access or limited access to internet and even phone for that matter. So they're limited to the data that they have. So yeah, and certainly with flyers, if you can have those available, then I can certainly promote those at the town halls, and then certainly take them to any meetings, community meetings I have personally, to be able to get the word out. Because one of the things I hear from constituents all the time is, I just heard this a couple of days ago, is that most community members don't know the resources the city has, and having worked for the city prior, that's some of the things, unless you're in the know and you know exactly how to traverse the website, it is kind of cumbersome for just an average person to kind of do that. And if you have language issues or language barriers, there's going to be a little more rub to navigate that. So if there's ways that I can connect, I'm more than happy to help you there, and want to make sure that you guys are robust and continue to do good work in the community. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, Amy, for that presentation. Keep up the great work. And I just want to echo Councilor Medina's sentiments there as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All righty. So next on our agenda is 5C, the Land Acknowledgement Resolution. And it looks like Angel is going to be, all right, you've got the floor.
Awesome, thank you. And if you could also give me permissions to share, that'd be great. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Angel McKinley Page. I am with the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion here at the City of Aurora. And I am here today to ask for council support in adopting an official land acknowledgement for the City of Aurora. The Office of DEI has partnered with Library and Cultural Services, as well as Aurora History Museum, and also collaborated with some of our Indigenous partners in the community to ensure that we're on the right track and using affirming language and intent in moving forward a land acknowledgement for our city. So I'm going to share. Please.
Yep, you've got it.
Do you all see the land acknowledgement?
Yes, ma'am. We see the presentation. So although little chunks of it are kind of blocked out.
Let's start the slideshow. Is that better?
Yeah, you still got like a gray patch in it, but we can see that.
Do I? Okay, let me try to move it over. Sorry, I have like 3 screens that I'm working for, so that might be part of it. Hopefully you can see that. I only have a couple of slides, so it'll be really brief anyway, but I just wanted to talk about what a land acknowledgement is. So a land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes and respects Indigenous peoples as traditional stewards of this land. It does not exist in a past tense or historical context, but it's an ongoing process that recognizes our need to build mindfulness and impacts of our current actions. And it's also just a really great way for us to center equity and to honor those that were stewards of this land prior to us being here. And this is some general language about what the land acknowledgement would look like. And I can read through that and then answer any questions that you have.
So a part of this slide is actually blocked. Do you have like a little window open somewhere, maybe behind your presentation?
Okay, let me just stop for a moment. And I'm going to close my video so that that part goes away and we share. What, do you see it now?
Yeah, the gray spot is still there.
Is it?
Yeah, it's on the right side. Do you see that as well, Councilman Medina?
I don't see anything on my
It's on
screen.
the left, on the right side.
On the right side, yeah.
Let's see.
So it might be a WebEx window or something like that. I know it gets kind of squirrely when you present.
It's still there?
Yeah, unfortunately, but I can actually we can read the slide in this view.
Yep, that's better.
Okay, I'm going to leave it in this view. This is the last
All right.
slide. My apologies. So this is just some general language that we've come up with for land acknowledgement. So the city of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. Indigenous people have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties that these nations have to their traditional homelands and to their vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed, and we are called to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as we continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. So that is the language. And again, we are just asking that council would support. Let me stop sharing. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. We are asking that council would support implementing an official land acknowledgement for the city, something that would be read at all city sanctioned and sponsored events, council meetings, as well as displayed in buildings and land that the city owns. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you for that presentation, Angel, and you have my complete support for this. I think that this is not just, promoting equity in our city, but I think we all we have a duty, frankly, to educate ourselves and others about the history of the land that we're on. So this is an excellent proposal, and you have my full support. Councilor Medina?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing, same sentiment there. I already do this for an international board, that's worldwide, and so we do that before our board meeting every time too, and from depending on who's doing it from what sector of the world. So yeah, I think it's just another step forward to creating that equity and understanding, right, of where we are. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, I believe this was, so I'll take that as 2 affirmative votes to move it forward. Councilmember? Yep. All right, I got the thumbs up. Wonderful. All right, so with that, we are now under miscellaneous items for consideration. Does anyone have anything for this section? Seeing none, details for our next meeting. And I do not have those details actually in the backup. So if staff could remind us what our next meeting is.
Councilmember Marcano, I think our next meeting is going to be on July 27th.
July 27th at 3:30. Does that work for you, Councilor Medina?
Yes.
All right, great. Works for me as well. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.